What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco. We are back with another one. It's Philly the podcast. You know the two faces up top. We don't got to say much. You know what I'm saying? The special guest today, an honor to have him on the show. My man Thomas Arnone from A2D Radio. If you do not know, you better go check it out because I don't know where you are. But what's good, my man? How are you doing? Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. It's going to feel good to talk about a win finally. So here we
Yes,
are.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's just dig right into it, man. Let's start with our initial reactions after the win. I know we've talked a little bit, behind the scenes, but let's tell the people, once we put up that last touchdown, what was your first thought?
If you want to go first, Thomas, you the guest.
You sure? Don't matter to me. My first thought that Carson Wentz has a lot between his legs. I mean, that's the first thought that came into my head as soon as it happened. There's a guy, nobody's been hit more in this league over 7 weeks. It's crazy. Most guys don't get hit that much all year, as much as he's got hit in 7 weeks. And just to keep answering the bell, keep getting up, keep responding to it, the resiliency that he has, the resiliency of this football team. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about my quarterback. And I know people were like, oh, why do you defend him so much? Well, because I feel like we have to, because of all, I don't want to see some of the toughness that we all see and that he is our franchise quarterback.
Yeah, it's so hard to really judge. I've said this a couple of times. It's very hard to analyze what we have on our team when we don't have our team. You know what I'm saying? So, it was really nice to see Carson Wentz just go out there and fight. What were you thinking, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I can't even lie. When he threw that perfect dime to Boston Scott, man, I was hyped. I mean, it's hard not to be, even if it's bad records, terrible team plays during this game or with our records and everything. It's still exciting. It's football at the end of the day. And so I was hyped on it. I mean, I know there's a lot that needs to be worked on with this team. There's a lot of plays missed, but we came out with the dub. And I mean, that's what we were looking for. And we knew that we need to get these dubs added up so when we get into the bye week, we can start getting healthy.
Facts. And I know we were kind of talking about this outside of the live, so I want to just hop right into it. We have been kind of on the low upset with Doug's play calling. I'll have you start with this, Doug, and we'll work out. Doug, wow. Sorry about that, Brandon. And we'll have no play calling for you, Brandon. But we'll start with you, Brandon. What are you seeing out of Doug? Like, what is going on? Because this is just, to me, it's getting ridiculous at this point. You know what I'm saying? But what are you seeing?
Right. I mean, it's tough because obviously we win the game. So there was plays that he called that were good. But there were plays that I'm pretty sure Carson audible to, like that Raider. And he threw that nice pass to Fulgham. Like, those are different things. But when you got these 2-point conversions or down in the goal line and he's trying to run Carson like Cam Newton, I just don't understand it. Our whole team is decimated. We're hurt every week, every game. Someone's getting hurt. And the one guy that we're praying that doesn't get hurt for the first, even last year, he played the whole season, but got hurt. You're going to run him like he's Cam Newton. Doesn't make sense to me. And then that 2-point with Jalen Hurts and all the linemen spread out, it doesn't even look like they practiced that play. That play looked like he just was like, yo, we're going to try this right now. The linemen didn't know what they were doing.
Just drew it in the dirt on the sideline.
Yeah, I slammed my pillow on the ground. I was like, what the hell is going on?
What you think, Tom?
I agree with everything Brandon just said, because if you talk about when you sit home on a couch and you're like, what is this play call? Like, you're sitting there watching and you're like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. And that's exactly how I felt when Jalen Hurts came out for the 2-point conversion. I'm like, this isn't going to work. You have 45 guys lined up on one side, 45 on another. It's like a college offense. And you're talking about the only guy not hurt on your offense outside of Kelsey is Carson Wentz, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of it. And then all these designed runs. Like, I don't mind him running the football because I want him to be who he is. But designed runs, it's almost like Howie's calling down and being, because he wants Jalen to play so bad. Hey, design running right here with Carson. Love to see him get banged up so I can get my quarterback in the game. And when it comes to play calling, not just the 2-point conversions, I'm a big Doug fan, and I stick up for him a lot because of how tough he is and how he gets his football team always ready to play. But, man, is there some play calling just outside the 2-point conversions that you're just like, you're scratching your head about?
Yeah, and, I've always said I feel like he's a great leader of men. Big shout out to Philly Talk Podcast. Appreciate you sliding through. I've always said he's a great leader of men. He's a great head coach, a great person to go to a war for. You know what I'm saying? But these situational calls, and sometimes it's, sometimes you want to get a little bit too gutsy. You know what I mean? I feel like he thinks of the game before and he's like, oh, I got to prove to these guys I wasn't an idiot. And he still makes the same mistake. So it's like, all right, well, you just proved your own self wrong. But I totally agree. We need to get an offensive coordinator in here. We need to get some other people giving some type of ideas, because I said in my show right before the game that one of the keys would be for us to have 25 rushes from our running back core. We ended up having 25 rushes, 25 carries. 7 of those, to you guys' points, was Carson Wentz himself. So I'm not good with that. I'm not good. We have like 4 different running backs. And like you said, I'm not trying to see that man get hurt. That's all we got right now. So especially with the people that got hurt. I know you guys saw Djax.
Yeah.
That, he's looking like he's probably out for the season. Lane Johnson's out for, I think, another 3 weeks at least. What are you guys thinking about these injuries? How are you guys feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of like back up what Thomas was saying before, it's like, it's okay if Carson runs when it's like we have to drive the field and it's kind of unexpected, but he's not that fast enough to, when there's only 3 yards between you and the end zone and you're starting off in the shotgun. So you're already a couple more yards back and you got these defensive linemen flying up the field to come get you. And then you see guys like Djax, who maybe hindsight, you don't put an old guy for punt return. I get it that there's some nostalgia there. He's a big playmaker, but he was like 6 years ago. This is not a guy that you're going to hope that breaks it open. He probably would have pulled a hamstring if he would have broke open. You could use the young guys. You can use a Huntley who's fast and kind of explosive. You can keep Greg Ward out there. You have the other options. Granted, at the end of the day, it was a fluke hit. The guy came in, the rookie from the Giants came in and just toppled on him for no reason. And that twisted up his ankle right there. But it's just, and then Lane, they're rushing him back. I know Lane wants to be out there. He's tough. And I love Lane Johnson. He's like one of our best linemen we've had since we've gotten him. But if you keep bringing dudes back early, especially with ankle injuries, he's bound to just keep getting hurt. It's going to be a cycle over and over and over.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you just said. But again, what did we do wrong?
We sold our soul.
We won 1 Super Bowl, so every year it's like I've never seen anything like it. And I try to ask people that aren't Eagles fans if they've ever seen anything like it. And everybody I talk to says the same thing. No, it's actually ridiculous. I've never seen so many key players constantly get banged up. And it's always different guys. And it's just amazing. Guys come back. You feel good. Deshaun early on in that football game, they made a point to get him the football. Love to see that. And then, boom, gone. As soon as you get him back. It's like Jordan Howard last year, right? He was day to day for, I feel like, 35 weeks.
Yeah, seriously.
I just don't know what we did to deserve it. Lane comes back, and Lane's tough as nails. And now, boom, he's got an MCL issue that might only keep – he might even be able to come back in 10 days. Who knows? So, anywhere from 10 days to 3 weeks, he might be able to come back. But it's just constant. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. And I think it's not even about the medical staff. I think you got to start looking at strength and conditioning coaches. And you might need moving on from some of these guys.
Yeah, we need to get some of these smoothies back in the building. I don't know. Chip Kelly didn't do anything right, but his medical staff was on point. And we fired that whole staff in 2017 after the Super Bowl. We did go through injuries during the Super Bowl year, but I feel it's the recovery to kind of both of your point. I think it's more of getting these guys back at full strength and not re-injuring the same thing over and over and over again. So, yeah, we have to look somewhere. I feel like we've made up so many reasons over the past couple of years, these guys are just old. Oh, they're just injury prone. But now
it's the young
just
guys. It's the young guys too.
Now it's just what is going on? I feel like somebody's throwing bricks at these kids during practice or something, because it's what's going on, man? But yeah, it's scary. But to that point, to even keep on that, we are, I don't want to say lucky, but it's not the worst situation because we're seeing people like, Jack Driscoll, people like Jordan Mailata, who kind of got beat up last game. But, nevertheless, we're seeing some of these younger guys step up. So I kind of want to ask you guys, who do you think out of these young guys that you've been seeing? And I'm going to take Travis Fulgham off because I feel like that's the easy answer.
All right, I'm out of here.
That's the easy answer right now. But who do you guys think, out of these young guys is showing the most to you? Who are you most excited to see?
Yeah, I mean, you can take Travis Fulgham off. He's the obvious, but it's crazy to think that if we weren't so decimated with injuries, we would never have seen Travis Fulgham. He might still be on the practice squad for all we know with Green Bay. So it's crazy that there are those
Lions. I think he was with the Lions.
He was drafted by the Lions.
Oh, he was with the Green Bay?
Yeah, and then he went to Green Bay.
I'll shut up. Look at that.
I know. I did a little research. I did a little research. But, I mean, even if you go back, I feel like Boston Scott's a name that he's one of the players that we were able to bring up from the practice squad. I think we even signed him off someone else's practice squad 2 years ago. And now he's able to make a name for himself when he becomes the starter. It seems like when Miles Sanders goes out and we need someone to step up, Boston Scott has been that guy. I love Boston. Boston, he's 5'6". He's always so hyped. He hypes me up when he runs well. And it just shows that these running backs, they need to get into a rhythm. We can do this running back by committee, but it shows that when Miles is doing well, but then when you plug in Boston, we were like, where's Boston all season? We haven't really seen him. But when you plug him in as a starter, he was starting to get the momentum going, and then he makes the big catch. So I'm going to go with Boston Scott.
Yeah, this one's tough because there's a lot of small sample sizes, which I never want to get too excited about, but we have to. I mean, this is what we're left with. So we have to look at all these guys that are getting thrown in the mix and sort of gauge it over some long-term stuff. And if we take Travis off the list, and you're talking about, I do like Boston Scott because I always think there's a role here for him. That's even becoming the third running back one day. There's always that role here for him because he can do things like he did last night out of the backfield. I think I'm going to go with Mailata, a guy that, I think we all laughed at when he was brought in here, former rugby guy. It's like, what are we doing, Howie? And part of me didn't want him to succeed because it's Howie the nerd at it again, which I can't be the smartest guy in the room. I'll go get a rugby guy and I'll have him play left tackle in the National Football League and
exactly
do it. But I gotta give this one credit because did he get beat up a little bit last night at times? Yeah. But that's gonna happen to left tackles in this league, especially young ones. But I love the athleticism that he brings, and he's such a big guy. And somebody said on the show last night during the reactions that he reminded them of a young Jason Peters in Buffalo. And he's a mauler like that. Like early on in his career, you can see he's a mauler. And that's the guy that I've been the happiest with. Because not only are you just playing offensive line, you're playing left tackle. They did a whole movie on how left tackle. So he's playing left tackle and he's protecting the blind side of our franchise quarterback. And I think he's done. I'm not gonna say he did a great job. I think he's done a very good job. Right? I think we can all agree there. He's going to get beat sometimes, but even against Bud Dupree in Pittsburgh, where he first got tossed into the fire, I thought he did a really good job. Last week against a damn good Ravens defense, I thought he held up well. And then this week was probably, if you want to say his worst game, and it wasn't even a bad one, was probably his worst one. And he still did a good job last night. So I'm very high on, because you can't have too many offensive linemen, guys.
Exactly. Yeah, and we've talked about this before. It's like having the question of what are we going to do with our first round pick left tackle next year is probably not that bad of a predicament to be in. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you can never have too many people at that position, especially good players. I like Mailata. And he's another one. It's hard to analyze him because he's had so many different people next to him over these past couple weeks. But yeah, I love what I see. I'm going to have to go with Greg Ward right now, to be honest. Like, I think Greg Ward has silently been a solid number two. I think even when we get at full health, I think he's a very good option for that slot position. Even on the outside, he's shown that he has enough speed to kind of, be that outside receiver. So I'm excited to see what we have with him going forward. Now, speaking of receivers, apparently the Bucs got AB. So maybe we just get some, off the cuff reactions to that. Me personally, I'll say before y'all even go, I've argued with plenty of Eagles fans that I feel wide receiver is the last place that we need to be spending money at, just because we do have so many young people and we have so many people hurt already. I think we have bigger needs, but I'm interested to see what you guys think, especially about AB. Would you have took the swing on AB?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would go on a limb and say yes if it was something cheap and we knew that he just was coming in to try to win and not come in and we're not going to get the diva AB. But I mean, I think that's just part of his package. The Bucks, I think they're just going all in this year. This is the Bucks. They're putting all the chips in. Brady's pulling the strings. He's doing his LeBron impression of just getting who he wants to the team. But I mean, yeah, it would have been cool. But at the same time, you're right. We have these young guys. I love how Carson is still believing in them. Like the Hightower drops the open pass last week, but he's still throwing it deep to him. Like he's giving these young guys a chance to really build that confidence, get the practice in, and get the throws in. Because Carson wants these young guys with him to be with him throughout the future. So would it be cool to grab a veteran, maybe a different veteran that doesn't come with all the baggage? But if the headline said the Eagles drafted AB, I wouldn't have been mad about it.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, I agree. The Patriots. Geez, I'm so used to him. Tampa's definitely all in for it. Listen, if we had the leadership that they have there, like if we had Tom Brady, then I would say, yeah, I'm all in for AB, because I feel like that. At least with Brady there, I feel like he can control it. I don't know who here's controlling that. But would I be against it? No. I mean, if again, same thing. If it's scrolled across that we signed AB, I'd be like, all right, I'm in. You know what I mean? I mean, hard not to be in. But was I seeking him per se? No, I wasn't seeking him. But I agree. There's other holes here that I would be looking for outside of wide receiver right now. But that doesn't mean I'm not looking for one of them too. Like this, these don't fall in your lap. Now, how much of it is AB and Brady? Doing this together, on why he's going to any team. Better yet, there was so much conversation just 3 days ago that he was going to Seattle, and now all of a sudden Brady swoops in and looks like he got his guy again.
It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, yeah, I agree. If we got him, it is what it is. But I hold steady that, especially him. I think you said it perfectly. We do not have the leadership to really deal with him right now. You know what I'm saying? I think once we start, if we kept on losing, you know what I'm saying, it's not going to look good. He's going to start crying, and then, we have a whole nother set of problems. If we couldn't deal with Alshon having a hissy fit, I don't know how we would in the world deal with AB's hissy fits. Now, also, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think? I got kind of roasted. I did a video not too long ago, and I was saying that we should be using Jalen Hurts a little bit more. Now, the way that we are using him lately, especially on these 2-point conversions, I do not condone. I do not put my stamp on that. But I would like to know, what do you guys think about how we're using him, and would you use him more, and how you would use him?
You can take this one. I gotta think about that one real quick.
I don't agree. I don't disagree with you that he could be used more. I mean, listen, it comes down to, it's so hard to say, because if your quarterback's going well, you don't want to take him off the field. But there is, and when you talk about using them for RPO situations, I'm all for it. I'm all for, when my offense is limited with skill position players, using him more. If I had all the things, everything available at my disposal, then I'm saying, I don't really need to get him on the field right now. But with all the injuries and everything going on, I mean, the more I can get a guy on the field that maybe could break a run for 20 or open up our run game, that's why I would use him for, because what's struggling is our run game. And why is it struggling? Well, because our offensive line has been a turnstile, right? So, of course, it's going to struggle. Back in the day, in the 90s, it's easier to run the ball when guys are banged up. Today, I feel like it's easier to throw the ball when guys are banged up. And I think that's why Doug Peterson throws the ball as much as he does. I think he wants to put it in his quarterback's hands instead of relying on a banged up offensive line. So that all being said, to try to open up the run game more, I agree with you. I think he could be used a little bit more in the right type of designs and not 2-point conversions that look like college plays.
Bad college plays at that.
Yeah, it's like the monster play in the Madden book. It's crazy. It's terrible. But, yeah, I would like to see him use more and like more creatively. Like if you're just going to run the read option run and that's it, then it's going to become obvious that people are just going to be like, all right, I'll get the quarterback, you get the running back, and it is what it is. I need Doug to call some plays where he's throwing the ball too, just to throw like a little mix in. He did it the one time. He got that 18-yard completion. That was good. Now do it more than just one time. And on top of that, I don't need Wentz out there either blocking. Like it's cool to see Wentz out there, his heart, his good work, but that could have easily been rolled up on his ankle. That just wouldn't have been worth it. That would have been that would have been 10 yards game for the end of the season.
Yeah, sometimes, a win isn't a win when you take a loss, like, Zach Ertz, when you lose someone like Zach Ertz in a game, when you lose someone like, well, I know that was the other game, but still, you know what I mean? When you lose big names like, Lane Johnson this game or whatever it may be, that definitely does hurt. So it's not a good look. Now, let's talk. I keep seeing this pop up in the comments, so it's about time, I guess, to just ask about this. But what do you guys think about Howie Roseman? All right. I think he's number 2 on the chopping block right now. Doug is slowly working his way up, in my opinion, but right now he's just 2. But you guys let me know what you think about Howie.
I mean, if the reports are true and he's really the kind of the reasons why we're not getting the players we need, or Schwartz saying we need a linebacker and a safety and he grabs Hurts in the draft. Like if he's really the reason why, then we need to get someone that can evaluate talent and makes those picks and let Howie just handle the money. I mean, granted, it doesn't look pretty next year, but we've been rearranging contracts and we've been working at it. So, I mean, he has been doing well, and he did bring in some players that we were able to win the Super Bowl at one point, which I think has gone to his head. I think his head has exploded since then. But I think he is on the chopping block. Doug, yeah, we can say bring in an offensive coordinator, but I think Doug as a head coach-wise, he's been doing well. I mean, his record speaks for itself. The guy's been to the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. Like, it's hard to kind of really put him on a chopping block. But play calling wise, yeah, sure, you can call in someone. Andy Reid does it. Andy Reid, when he feels like things aren't working, someone else is calling the plays. So maybe he can pick up from that since Andy's his boy.
Yeah, you believe.
Yeah, in terms of Howie Roseman, I'm done. I love everything he did in 2017. I'm over it. If you want to stick around and get put back in the closet and just handle, the paperwork per se, and you want to handle the cap and you want to make some trades and enjoy that kind of stuff again, I'm fine with that. There's things he is strong at. I've always felt like he's been strong at the cap. I've always felt like that he's been strong in free agency. I've always felt like he's been a good guy with making some under the radar trades, right? I think they are his strengths. But if you want to continue to be a playoff team and you want to continue to go back to the dance, there's only one way you're going to be able to do that without having no money, all right? And that's being able to draft well. And since 2013 or whenever the heck he stepped foot back into this mess again, right? It's been horrendous. And that's being nice. Like, horrendous is being nice. Like, we could auto draft it. We could literally auto draft it, come out with better, more talented players. And I'm not going to count this year because I don't know, right? And and last year's sort of hard to count because you need a sample size, right, guys? Right. I understand that. But if you just go 3 years ago, like, the only good pick he's made, in my opinion, right now that you can say that's a really good pick, is Derek Barnett.
And even that's kind of
Miles. Okay, I'm talking about the first round guys. Like, Miles.
Yeah, definitely.
Dallas Conner, good pick. We can all agree there.
Yeah, and we haven't been able to see Jalen Reagor. Dude got hurt, and now Justin Jefferson looks like the next Randy Moss or something. He's killing it in Minnesota. So it's you're right. I think there was one thing I wanted to bring up to ask you, Joe, regarding this. But now I kind of forgot because now I started thinking about Jalen Reagor. Just go ahead. If I think about it, I'll bring it up.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating with Howie. I feel like we don't know. We aren't in the building. You know what I'm saying? And we are hearing reports. The reports seem to be true. I mean, nobody's denying anything, and all this stuff that Jim Schwartz says in his conferences and the way Doug acts in his press conferences, they look like they just got bullied out of their lunch money half of the time. So, Howie might just be in there on some gang type stuff. I don't know what's going on with it. But yeah, if he's really making all these decisions, then it makes no sense. But Jeffrey Lurie has not shown me the cojones to really pull it. Like, if we would have lost last night, I don't know that we would have really fired anybody. I think we would have just kept going with what we had. You know what I'm saying? It took damn near like the whole city burning down for Chip Kelly to get fired. So it makes me a little nervous that we're going to hold on to these guys a little bit too long, especially because of the Super Bowl ring. But
well, on top of that, they get the COVID excuse this year. I feel like everyone gets kind of like a pass in a sense, maybe not to us fans, but to like an owner like Jeffrey Lurie, he can easily chalk it up and be like, listen, it was a COVID year. Things are different. We didn't get the training camp. We didn't get the reps. We didn't get to evaluate like we wanted to and stuff like that. I mean, it's tough to say, but I feel like when it comes to the cap and everything, I feel like maybe that's the reason why our linebackers stink, because I think someone said that our cap right now for linebackers is like at 3.8 mil we're spending on linebackers. And I feel like they're praying that these guys can come out of their shell and become somewhat decent so they don't have to add more money to that, because I feel like we're going to be hurting next year, especially if the cap is more strict.
Yeah, no, that's a big fact. And I'm hoping that we could no notes. Love the A2D guys. Hey, there you go. That's what's up. But yeah, no, that's definitely a thing. Like I said a couple of times, people are going to be very they're gonna be looking at the roster next year like, who's this guy? Who's that guy? Because we're gonna have to overhaul a lot of
bunch of crooms.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of crooms on the offense. And the defense, I want to get into the defense a little bit. We put a lot of new toys on the defensive side, you know what I'm saying? And yet they seem to be worse than ever, to be honest, which is kind of, especially at the run game, which makes no sense to me. So I want
linebackers.
Yeah, you could say that. I want to know, what do you think the defensive struggles are linked to? What is it? Just Jim Schwartz? Is it the linebackers? Is it a mixture? What are you guys thinking?
I'm thinking it's a combo of, but me personally, I think it's a combo of Jim Schwartz and the linebackers. And I feel like when Jim Schwartz came in, one of his big emphases were he lets the D-line just go. And the linebackers are supposed to have that responsibility of being able to come up and be in the right gaps to stop the run. I was just at the restaurant and they were playing the replay from last night. So I was able to watch some plays actually like paying attention rather than just watching as a fan. And there were times where toward the end of the game, when they were getting like those first downs with Gallman running the ball, either Duke Riley or Nate Gary were out of position. They weren't where they were supposed to be. They were caught up too close to the line of scrimmage, and then you couldn't get off the block or anything like that. And that's part of the problem. We had, granted, these aren't all-stars, but back in 2017, we had Bradham, who was pretty decent, maybe not at coverage, but stopping the run. Michael Kendricks, he had speed, and he was a bigger body, and he could hit. I mean, those were guys that Hicks, when he was healthy, he's healthy in Arizona right now, and he's balling out. Those were tackling guys. Those were tackling machines and able to fill in those gaps and everything like that. Now we got special team players and guys that shouldn't be on the team, and I cannot stand Nate Gary's celebration.
We have Nate Gary, man.
That thing is the worst celebration.
He was waiting all year to do that. So, you know what I'm saying? He was practicing waiting that all year. What you think, Tom?
Well, I think we've learned that Devon Hargrave can't tackle me or you. So, I mean, I think we've sort of gauged that now. That looks like, right now, looks like a bad deal. Looks like an absolutely bad deal. Last night, I don't know how many times he had his arm on a ball carrier. I'm gonna need you to bring him down, bud. All right?
Yes.
We're backing up brink trucks for a guy, and he hasn't showed up yet. So we'll see if that continues. But right now, it's like, oh, that's a one scary, because I like the signing. I think everybody else did too. Right. Jim Schwartz is the definition of missionary. Everything's the same. His wife probably hates him, so that's fine. But, I showed a little bit last night of bringing some extra pressure once in a while. But in terms of the run game, I think it's fully on what's provided to him. And what's been provided to him has been atrocious at the linebacking court. Like, Brandon, you were saying, 2017, we had legitimate linebackers, right? So, they might not have been pro bowlers, but, pros pro. Michael Kendricks, pros pro. Nigel Bradham, pros pro. Guys actually knew how to play the position. Now we're stuck with projects and Davion Taylor. Sean Bradley, if you're going to expect him to be good right now, that's unfair when you're talking about late of a pick, right? And then the list goes on. Nate Gary was a good special teams guy. He was never supposed to be a starter here. If you want to be in your rotation and you can bring him in once in a while, then fine. But he's never supposed to be an every down linebacker for you. Mm-hmm. That's why, when we talked earlier, that's why Jim Schwartz wanted a guy like Kenneth Murray or a guy like Patrick Queen. And his GM overrode him on it, and that's fine, and we'll see how that plays out. But I think a lot of it comes back to the guy that's doing the shopping.
And it gets confusing because it's like, why do people like LJ Fort? I know there's another linebacker that I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but that we let go not too long ago, and he's doing fine too. We let go of good players on the defensive side. Obviously, I know a lot of people are going to probably bring up Brazul. People are going to bring up Nelly. People are going to bring, we've let all. I don't even think Nelson Aguilar really counts, but people are going to bring him up because he's had a couple catches. But my thing is, we've let go a lot of good players on this team. So, yes, we don't have the resources at linebacker, but I mean, I guess it goes back to I want to know how much power does Howie really have. If he really has that much power that he can really just say, nah, you're good with what you got. That's kind of scary. You know what I'm saying? That's,
right.
That's that. And that even brings me to more of the thought that Jeffrey Lurie is not going to fire that man. If he gave him that much power, I feel like this whole time has been kind of a my bad since Chip Kelly took over and everything. I feel like, we kind of gave him a couple years of, hey, we're sorry, do what you want to do. But it might be going a little bit too far at this point. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it gets me a little worried. Now, let's go with something I've been trying to get hashtagging for a little while. You know what I'm saying? And we kind of touched on it, but that's fire Jim Schwartz. I've been trying to get that going for a while. So I want to know your guys' thoughts. Like, I know you said, it's kind of what Jim Schwartz has, but is it time to move on from him? And do you have anybody in mind that we could move on to?
I mean, you could always look at. I like the guy from the Cowboys last year. I mean, I hate to bring up the Cowboys, but Chris Richard, I believe his name was. I feel like he had attitude. He was younger. That was a guy that if Jim Schwartz was to get fired, because I mean, like Tom said, he has to do what he's given with, and so it's tough. But at least I feel like I haven't seen a Sticks defense this past week or at least 2 weeks, so that kind of makes me feel better that he's learning from that probably, because that Sticks defense was one of my main reasons to just throw him on the train and keep it moving. But I don't know. It's like I want change, but right now it might not be that time, especially considering that our defense isn't playing terrible. I mean, the last couple of games, we let up a good amount of points, but those are Steelers and Ravens. That's just two really good teams. I mean, it is what it is. But for the most part last night, we held the Giants in check. I mean, they didn't have Saquon, but we shut down their run. We didn't even need to tackle him. The field tackled Daniel Jones, so I mean, that was good.
I was going to say, I feel like the field played better defense than we did overall. But
but I don't know if I'm ready to fire him just yet. Just talk to me in a couple more games and a couple more weeks. We'll see what the record is.
Yeah, I mean, we can shoot.
Yeah, I was ready to fire him after I was trying to look up how long of a drive that was, but I think it was 95 yards, 97-yard drive.
97 yards.
97. Even worse. That's what I thought it was originally. I'm like, no, it wasn't. 97 yards in the guts of the game, right? So, the guts of the game, you're now playing a preventish defense against Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. Like, I mean, come on. Hey, come on. So, if Evan, I don't say what ifs, but Evan Ingram catches that pass, the game's over. So, I mean, every year I get into my fire Jim Schwartz moments too. So he gets a little bit more of a leash now after a win, obviously. But I'm close, man. I'm close because all your money's there. If all your money wasn't there, or everybody was hurt defensively, then I buy into it. I truly buy into it. I know people aren't going to want to hear this, but Darius Slay is not a top 10 corner in this league. He's 10 to 15? Sure. He's not Jalen Ramsey level. You know what I mean? He's not Tre'Davious White level. He's not at that level, which is fine, but we need to expect that. We need to understand that he's very good, but he's not one of the elite guys in the National Football League. Fair, and I know people get upset about that. I can't talk anything about good players here. And I love his toughness. I love everything about Darius Slay. So I want to make sure I'm making that clear. But again, he's not people say, oh, you can leave him on an island all the time. No, you can't, though. And you see a little bit of it last night. You saw it in Pittsburgh when he got left on an island. So that's where I would like to see some adjustments from Jim Schwartz, which drive me crazy. But I would like to see and I think we're successful when it happens. Last thing I have to say about it, we're successful when it happens. When he brings pressure, this defense is successful. Like, and I know we have a great front four, but it help them out sometimes. That's my biggest pet peeve with him.
Yeah, and I like it, to your point of adjustments, to both of your points, honestly, that's what we need to see. You can't play man all game. You can't put these guys out on islands, no matter how good you think they are or they aren't. And you put what kills me is that you put Darius Slay in the same positions that you put Nate Gary in some position, and sometimes, and that's what just baffles my mind. You know what I'm saying? It's like I feel like there's no real communication, whether it's on the field or whether it's on the sideline, saying, "Hey, this guy's getting torched by him," blah blah. And why isn't Nigel Bradham still a free agent? You know what I'm saying? Isn't that your boy Jim? Why not? Why not? He can't be worse than what Nathan Gary has given us. There's no way that Nathan Gary fits our system more than Nigel Bradham would. Unless he doesn't have legs anymore. That's the only way I'm looking at it and saying, "Oh, I would."
That could be it.
But maybe he can't run anymore. But it just doesn't make sense to me. There's so many other options there. No one can be worse than what Nathan Gary has given us. I mean, he is catastrophic, historically bad. It's historically bad. And like you said, he's not adjusting to that, and even play wise, he's not adjusting to what he sees, and I think that's a big thing. And you even go back to 2017, we gave up 500 yards on Brady's last leg. Because if you look at that, Brady was not the same quarterback ever since then. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of gave Brady, if we would have lost that game, I say this time over and time again, who would have been the scapegoat? It would have been Jim Schwartz.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt about that.
Unfortunately, Philly hasn't won a Super Bowl in so long, and when we did, we gave a lot of people hall passes. So now I feel like this is the year that we got to start really seeing some heads roll and seeing some change, man, because I'm tired of it, bro. I don't know what it is, but I'm just.
I'm just hoping that the reason why we restructured the contract for Fletcher Cox is because we're bringing someone in to help the defense, like maybe a linebacker or something. I'm hoping. Otherwise, maybe they're just planning for next year. But making a move like that near the trade deadline, it's just kind of like a tease. Our emotions. Yeah, it's a tease for us if nothing happens.
I feel like that's where I'm at right now. I feel like they're just playing with our emotions. I feel like they're not going to do nothing. If we beat the Cowboys, which we should beat the Cowboys, to be honest. And shout out to the Cowboys game, because my boy that I had on an interview about 2 or 3 days ago, Rico Anderson, shout out to him. He's going to be singing the national anthem for that game. So that will be awesome. So that's a win in itself. So hopefully we win also. But either way, if we win that game, I forget who we were talking to about it, then I can see us, really trying to make some moves and really trying to get something going. But our trade deadline trades have not been that great as of late. So is Kendrick still a free agent? He is not.
Yeah.
Didn't he just get picked up?
He did. He got picked up?
I believe the Seahawks just picked him back up.
He's
going to jail soon. But so anyways, let's go on to so now that we have this win, all right, what is the importance of this win? What does this win do for us going forward? Is this, the breakthrough we needed, do you guys think, or is it a building block?
I think it's definitely a building block. You could, every time we play the Giants, no matter if the Giants are really bad or good, it's always been a close game. Even the year we won the Super Bowl, there were the 2 times we played the Giants that came down to realistically the last play. I mean, Nick Foles came in against the Giants, and I think he had 4 touchdowns, but it came down to the last touchdown in order to win the game. So that's why I don't really, people say, oh, but it's terrible Giants. Oh, you won, be happy. But they're terrible. But it's these are divisional games. We play tough all the time. So I see this as a building block, coming back and knowing that there was some adversity in the game, made bad mistakes. That Carson interception was just terrible. But it's definitely something that all right, and then we came back and we won. We can do this thing. We can get down the field in a hurry. We can use the speed offense and keep it going and get touchdowns, get points. I think the real question outside of what does this win mean is what does this game mean for Jake Elliott? What's been up with him?
Yeah, he needs to go. That plays. But what do you think, Thomas?
It can do a couple things. I mean, it can make you go on a little run, and that's what you would hope it would do. It would bring guys together. I always say, like, I don't care how you win games in this league. You know, winning games and going in the locker rooms with wins makes everybody feel good. It makes everybody buy in, right? And especially when you have 10 days now to get some guys healthy, and what could be is you get guys right down the stretch. So you sort of get some guys back. So, I mean, I look at this as a win that could propel this football team. I think it's a win when you look at your quarterback, he needed really bad. I think this is a win that our head coach, just by the way presses were going, needed really bad. So it sort of relieves guys. It gets guys hungry again. It gets guys buying in to every little X and O. That's what winning does. That's what winning did in 2017. You know, I remember 5 weeks into 2017, the whole fan base was bitching and moaning about, hey, you know, we're going to lose games if we do this. Like, oh, we won the last game of the year, which was Super Bowl that way. So any way you win, you know, 2-0, walk-off home runs, I don't care. Get me to a locker room of wins and let the chips fall where they will. But what excites me is that you control your own destiny again. And that's sort of what we wanted. And we're not – listen, I speak for everybody. I mean, listen, if you're nerds, you talk about the draft. If you're a football junkie, you talk about the moment. I'm never trying to talk about April until April. I'm trying to talk about the next game. And we all want to do that. You know, especially when we don't have any basketball coming up. Well, we might in Christmas. Now they're talking about Christmas time, but sorry for another day. But we don't have the usual stuff we would have right now. Man, I don't want to not look forward to Dallas week. I don't want to not look forward to these things. So, listen, I think it's going to take us in the right direction, and that's going to be winning this division. If that's 7 wins, 8 wins, I don't know. But it's going to have us win this division and get us a home playoff game, and anything can happen then.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, not to be mean to anybody in the comment section, but I feel like it's a loser mentality when you say, you know, the season doesn't matter. We suck anyways. You never know what's going to happen, especially with us. You know, we have a lot of injuries that if they come back, boom, you never know what's going to happen. You know, to quote a great movie, Major League, you know, you win one game, then you win another one, and that is called a winning streak. You know what I'm saying? And if we can start getting on a winning streak and just getting some confidence, especially in some of these young guys that are really showing out, I think we can do some really good things. I really do see us doing some really good things. So now just a couple more questions. I want to know, if we win this next game, which we will, if we beat the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night, what's next? Do you think a big trade's next? Do you think we start, you know, doing something different? Do we just stay with the same old same? What do you guys think is next?
Go ahead, Tom. I need a second on this one.
Yeah. I'll go back because I don't even think, which is a problem.
That's why I love your show, bro. That's why I love your show, dude.
I get caught a lot of times. Like, all right, say it again. Say it again. I was saying, if we win this game against Dallas, what do you think is next for us? You know, do we change things up? Big trade? What are your thoughts on that? Well, I think because of where the cap is next year, you're almost in win now mode. I mean, I felt like that since coming into this year. I think you guys probably felt them same things. And I know everybody I talked to about it's like, yeah, man, this is win now, or 60 million or 50 million. I don't even know what the number is. A lot over the cap next year, which you're going to see different faces, and you're going to see newer faces and faces that were probably, you know, or that we love might not be here anymore. Guys that will always have a place in our heart from 2017. So if we beat the Dallas Cowboys, or should we say when we beat the Dallas Cowboys, that I believe you got to be a big time buyer, big time, like for whatever. I mean, I'm on the phone. We were talking about Michael Kendricks. I'm on the phone with Minnesota. The second Yannick gets dealt, I'm asking what you want for Eric Kendricks. What do you want? What do you want? You want a first? I don't draft well anyway.
Facts. No, I agree 100% with you. And we've had this conversation behind scenes, Brandon. Like, you know, what do they want for Anthony Barr? What do you want for Eric Kendricks? If you're selling, we're buying. You know what I'm saying? If we suck, we suck. It is what it is. Maybe we can draft well next year. Who knows? I don't care. But if we can get somebody right now that can make our team better this year and beyond, I think it's a no-brainer. That's why I was so behind, or I should say, the Yannick trade, because I feel like that's a guy that makes your team better for the next 4 or 5 years, even though he's kind of sucked this year, so I was kind of wrong about that. But what do you think about that, Brandon?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a catalyst. Like, if we can beat Dallas and go into the bye with a 2-game win streak, especially against Dallas, because everyone knows that Dallas week is huge in Philly, and it just brings it's a momentum builder. And then we got the Giants the week after that. So if we can win this next game and get into the bye, we're only going to get healthier. That's one of the key things I've been paying attention to, is that a lot of our injuries, minus like Dillard and maybe Djax might be a little longer, aren't season-ending injuries. We're going to get Rager back. We're going to be able to get him in the mix. Because even with the Redskins, or Washington, I should say, he looked good. He was beating the defense. Him and Carson didn't get the chance to get the rapport together and connect on some of those deep plays. Only on one, and there was another one. Rager was open. So we're going to get these guys back. And then, like you said, let's go get someone. Let's not get a Golden Tate for a 3rd-round pick. Let's get someone that we can use, someone that can be a difference maker. I mean, granted, Jay Ajayi for a 4th round was a pretty good one a couple years ago. That was a pretty solid pickup. But like we said, we've been stressing the defense. Let's get a linebacker. Let's go get an Eric Kendricks. Let's go pick up Quentin Spain from the free agency for the offensive line. Like, we can go get these guys and make moves. I don't know. It's exciting if we can win and have control our own destiny.
Yeah, I think they are beat up. They are beat up to the T. If we let Red Rocket beat us, man, I will be upset. I will say that. So let me ask you last question. You know what I'm saying, and then we'll get out of here. I know everybody got a busy night tonight. I know everybody's grown men. What are your guys' keys to victory for us to beat the Dallas Cowgirls? You know what I'm saying, on Sunday night? What do we have to do as a team?
We got to run the ball. We got to make sure that we're running the ball. Carson can't be throwing 45 times a game. That's one of the things I believe Jose said the other day, or whoever was on said, we want to keep it at a 35 attempt cap. Literally, hopefully that's what we can do. We're not coming from behind. We're not down 12 and we're trying to make heroics at the last 5 minutes. We got to run the ball, be consistent with it, and we're gonna have to stop Zeke. Zeke, he can be he's been struggling a little bit. Maybe we can kind of keep that roll going, unless he unleashes himself against Washington this weekend. We need to take advantage of their offensive line being beat up like ours. Their offensive line is just as bad now. Their only starter is Connor Williams, and he's not even that good himself. So it's just we need to take advantage of the defensive line needs to eat, and we need to be consistent with the run and hold the ball from that Dallas offense, because their receivers, they have good receivers. They could potentially hurt us, especially if we keep playing man 10 yards off of a wide receiver. They're going to just hit slant routes to Amari Cooper, and he's going to go for 20. So we need to make sure, like I said, take advantage of their offensive line and run the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on who we have back for this football game. Offensively, we don't know yet on who we'll have back. So I'll go with the same old adage on what we need to do to beat the Giants. This defense got to come play football. They got to take the football away like they did last night. And we capitalize on it last night, and that becomes on the offense and Jake Elliott, who should just have the walking papers delivered. I don't even want to go in the locker room, to be honest with you. So whatever. But that being said, I'm losing my train of thought because I got excited about Jake Elliott. I got Jake Elliott on my mind. But what I see is you got to take the football away, and you got to make Andy Dalton. You got not make him beat you, but you got to put pressure on him, just the way you did Daniel Jones last night. Except this guy's a statue for the most part. So when you talk about guys that now he used to be able to move when he was younger, but not as much anymore. But when I'm talking about statues, I'm bringing an extra guy every day and putting pressure on their offensive line. I'm putting pressure on Andy Dalton. I'm putting the pressure on chemistry to be able to get the ball out of your hand quick. Listen, it's going to be easy back there if you can sit back there and Amari Cooper can run wide open or CeeDee Lamb runs wide open. But I want to make him have to make quick decisions. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I want to be the aggressor on Sunday night. Right, and that's how you're going to win this football game, and set your offense up in good field position and help them out. When you talk about divisional games, or any game really, but divisional games like this, you have to win the turnover battle. And for Carson, you're getting closer and closer to that clean game, that perfect game. I'm going to need a perfect one from you next Sunday on Sunday Night Football.
That's definitely what I'm looking for. I think you hit it on the head. I've been saying and batting, I've been beating that dead horse for a while that we need to play, 48 minutes of football for once. We need to play 4 quarters of football for once. I know I just butchered the time that is actually in a football game, but you guys know what I mean. I'm getting tired. It is what it is. But yeah, we need to play a full 4 quarters of football. It's just we're inconsistent. I saw a post not too long ago that somebody said that Wentz is the most inconsistent quarterback, and I don't believe that. I just feel like the team is very, very inconsistent, and it shows through the quarterback. He's our leader. It is what it is. So I just need to see some consistency. I definitely agree. We need to win the turnover battle, and I just want to see us get our run game back, our run defense back, I should say, because I feel like that's our identity. You know what I'm saying? If we can get that back, I feel like everything will just kind of follow it. You know what I mean? Once we start making offenses a little bit more one-dimensional, I think our defense becomes a little bit better. Our offense becomes a little bit better. I think everything comes together once we get the running defense better. So that's my thoughts. But at the end of the day, I know we're going to win. Look, I know we got 20 people still in here. So everybody, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe. Go check the links in the description. I got my man's A2D. I can't speak. A2D Radio YouTube channel. Go subscribe. Hit him up. I appreciate you so much for coming on here, man. Like I said, I'm a huge fan. So we're gonna do this again because we scheduled this and then we won. So I'm feeling like there's luck here. I'm feeling like
here every week. You need me. What?
Exactly. So, but like I said,
my wife.
Like I said, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say, like plug or anything like that before we get off here?
Nah, I don't want other people's stuff to plug my stuff.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate you being on here, like I said, and you know what it is. So everybody that's in here, man, I love you guys. It is what it is. You know what time it is. It's fly, Eagles fly, and we are out here. Say peace to the world, Brandon.
Later, guys.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Thank you.